Hello, this is James. I just got my beautiful, not econ, my beautiful princess and my fish depth charge from leveling Mako all the way up, and I am using the small fish, the golden flying fish deck, for my ladder climbing deck. So we all know how this works. We have Hammer Shark. He special summons our small fish. We have beautiful princess that lets us search out one of our other fish that we need. Usually golden flying fish. Our Oystermeister, when he gets tributed, he gives you a token, so you can get 2 tributes off of 1 normal summon. And all of this swirls around our golden flying fish destroy effect. You tribute a fish, and you can target a card and destroy it. So I like this deck for 2 reasons. You can run a smattering of back row. If you only have 1 of each of the good back rows, you can run an assortment and the deck works just fine. And also, the small fish deck hard counters Sylvans. So the opponent plays their face down mill monster, and then you can activate your golden flying fish. So you have 3 golden flying fish plus 1 beautiful princess in the deck. So this is, and generally you're searching out a golden flying fish or another golden flying fish with your beautiful princess. So you have a good chance, 72%, of getting a golden flying fish in your opening 5 cards. So you can definitely be getting off that destroy effect early and often. Now, there is one card that is far and away essential to this deck, and that's Powerful Rebirth. And it's actually a pretty good card, and you can run it in multiple decks, but I only have 1 so far. But you can replace the Powerful Rebirths that you do not have with Swamp Mirror. Swamp Mirror, it's a trap monster, and you can special summon it as a normal fish, or any monster that you want. But for this deck, you pick fish, and you can use it as fodder for your golden flying fish. And it's also an 1800 attack point base stat monster, which is actually important because it's 100 attack points over your Hammer Shark and your golden flying fish, which counts in the mirror match, because the mirror match of this deck is very petty. You're very worried about 100 attack points, more or less. Now, I don't know how this interacts with the new box that dropped tonight. Like, as I'm recording this, it's dropping and people are opening it. I'm not going to commit to buying the box yet. I want to see what other people are playing, see what the good reset cards are before I spend the gems and plan out my resets. So for right now, before the meta molds and adjusts to the souls of the Valiant, I'm using Golden Flying Fish to counter all of the many Sylvans that I'm still seeing. This deck does have some disadvantages. It's powerless to hazy. Well, not powerless. In a hazy matchup, well, because you have all this strong back row, right? You have this and that that counters, not counters, but it can inflict damage on a hazy deck. It's just that the main gimmick, the golden flying fish targeting destroying gimmick, does not work for hazy monsters. It is possible to beat them, but you have to walk a razor's edge. But there's more than enough Sylvans to prey on and make up for it. So today, let's do some replays, and let's not forget to move my head over. Sometimes I record the whole replay commentary, and I go look at the footage, and I didn't move my head over, which is silly. So this is a Jesse Anderson, but since we're playing in ranked and not casual, it's not a Crystal Beast Jesse Anderson. It is a Sylvans Jesse Anderson. and the face down with no back row, and it's not a Kaiba or a Crowler, is a dead giveaway. So here we have our Swamp Fish, and since we have 2 of him, this is what's good about this setup of the deck. Like, you don't need to rely on Golden Flying Fish. You can use your Parallel Twister and get rid of one of your traps, and we direct attack with the Oyster Meister. Here he goes for the face down mill monster again, and then we can Golden Flying Fish, and we get a token. Now, be aware of your tokens. So we have Swamp Mirror, so we can attack for lethal, but if you have lethal so the number is 2100, 1900 plus 200, 2100. If you have lethal, make sure you summon your Oyster token in attack position so that you can get that win. Because the small fish deck, it does not have any acceleration, and it's difficult to fit more card drawing cards into the deck, because you're relying on that destroy effect, and that's why Fish Depth Charge is so clutch. It's another free destroy, and it draws a card. I didn't even know that until recently. I read that and I was like, oh wow! It destroys and it replaces itself. And also that's why. So we're getting our destroy effects, but we're also using the Mythic Depths skill just to make our fishes more potent, to make our duels more quick. Because we're relying on small monsters, we don't want to have to deal with big monsters. We don't want to deal with a turn 4 Dakini. So here's our mirror match, and our monsters are exactly evenly matched. It doesn't matter who has which Umi. You use the Beautiful Princess to search out the Golden Flying Fish. Now here, and I'm very glad that I have my Swamp Mirror, because he's going to be 2200 under these conditions. Now here, I want to get rid of his Golden Flying Fish because I have my own. So I'm gonna be very aggressive, and I'm going to tribute off my Hammer Shark and destroy that back row. And that's because this deck does very well with Powerful Rebirth. So I want to get rid of that Powerful Rebirth before I destroy his monster. So now he's down a Powerful Rebirth and he's down a Golden Flying Fish, and he will be hard pressed to replace them. He goes for Oyster Meister, and here's the extra attack, and it forces him to use Super Rush Headlong. He can't just suicide the Hammer Shark. We have 1900 attack points, and we are going to get our kill, and we have Fish Depth Charge. This is like secretly an amazing card. And that's why we run the good back row with our mirror wall. Our relatively low attack point fish is safe. And we get our direct attack, and now he's in a top deck situation. Now, we have to worry about that back row. So we're going to econ take the Oyster Meister, and then I can use him to destroy. I can tribute off this fish to destroy the fish's own back row, but he knows that resistance is futile, and he surrenders. The next replay is Seto Kaiba, and this is the hazy beatdown replay, and it's a tough fight because you can't use the Golden Flying Fish. You have to rely on your back row entirely. You have to draw well and play perfectly. Because the hazy blocking effects brooks no room for error. So we will normal summon, and anytime I smell a hazy deck, so anytime I see a Kaiba, I just set all of the back row that I can because I know that there's Gyoko. We're gonna destroy the Raven, because otherwise there's no reason to not destroy the Raven, because otherwise it's just a free tribute for a Hazy Sphinx. Even though it gives him Gyoko, I'm trying to fake him out. So we get the damage, and then he Gokes my Super Rush, which is, you know, I was hoping he would actually go for the Powerful Rebirth, but I would rather him Gyoke the Super Rush than the Mirror Wall. So he discards Berlineth, and then he activates Tensu, and then he activates Berlineth. So he discards a Berlineth, special summons a Berlineth, and then tributes that for a Paraton, and then dumps another Paraton to get the Paraton effect, and then now he has the full Hazy board. I let him destroy the Hammer Shark with the Cerberus because it's more important to me to get rid of the Sphinxes. And remember, we still have Powerful Rebirth, and that's where the petty little extra 100 attack comes in. So we're going to get rid of that Sphinx, and we're going to pay for the wall to keep the monsters off our back, because we really want to buy that extra turn. Paying for the wall, usually not optimal unless you're keeping a monster weak, because other decks can do other stuff, right? They can tribute take, they can destroy. You're just giving them extra time. Hazy decks, they only want to crash into your monsters. So with Hazy decks, paying for the Mirror Wall is a good decision. Now that defense position Hazy, with 1900 attack, he was playing around Wall of Disruption, which is smart, but now our Powerful Rebirth gives our Shark 2000 attack, and we can get the second Sphinx, and that's critical to breaking the Hazy board. Now we play defensive, or we feign defensiveness, because what I want to do is I want to use my Fish Depth Charge to tribute a fish and get rid of this Gyoko, because I'm gonna need this Super Rush pretty soon. So he special summons a Dinotherium and then tributes it for a Coyote, which is the weakness, right? Now that there's a Coyote, my enemy controller is again relevant. So he goes for the Shark with the Cerberus. We do Fish Depth Charge onto the Oystermeister, destroy the Gyoko, and now that I have a different number of monsters, a replay is triggered, and I put the Super Rush onto the Shark, destroying the Cerberus. That gives him another Cerberus, and we even got an Oyster token. And so he destroys that with his Coyote. We normal summon it. This is good. This is good. Normal getting another monster, and then Coyote weak to the enemy controller. Coyote Betray. They're wild animals, Kaiba. They're not loyal. Can't trust them. Okay, so here is a this is a mill deck, but I wasn't annoyed playing against this mill deck like I usually am, because this is a skillful mill deck, and there's a lot of thought that went into it. So we're going first, and again with the depths. And here, oh man, this is a good hand. We have one of each. So we're just going to start with our Hammer Shark, because I don't want to risk the Golden Flying Fish. That's the key card of the deck. Golden Flying Fish, destroy the. I'm hoping that it's a Hero Shadow Scout, but it's the Warm Worm. He's going to get the. He's going to get rid of my cards, and he has his own Powerful Rebirth. So he mills an Oystermeister, and then we're going to use Powerful Rebirth to get that Oystermeister back, and then he chain destroys. He milled 2 Oystermeisters, and then chain destruction is going to get the third. I parallel twister away the Powerful Rebirth and destroy the Warm Worm, so that I can get maximum attack onto him. So now he only has 300 life points. Golden Flying Fish, destroy the Wing Karibo. It's not a mill monster. It keeps him alive for a turn. So I should have attacked into it, but I had no way of knowing. Because attacking into it would have kept another high attack point monster instead of just this token. So he goes for the risky Cup of Ace, and he gets his cards. Sets 3 full back row. Of course, there's another powerful rebirth. It brings back his fish, and then his Worm fish, and then Chain destroys his own Worm, and now so he mills all the. It's not a true mill. He mills the last of my cards, and now we need to be very careful about what we choose to destroy, because we do need to destroy because we can't have our monsters. We need to just get one attack in, but I don't know what this is. So we're going to destroy the Worm. Again, Worm is not a true mill. It's not causing you to draw cards. It's just if there are cards in the deck, they get sent to the graveyard. And then finally, I attack into it, and it's not the third powerful rebirth like I feared. It's a limit reverse, and limit reverse makes you summon the monster in attack position. So we attack the Karibo, and there's our damage, and there's our game. Here's our final replay. For some reason, you don't get matched up against a lot of big fish, a lot of whale water decks playing the small fish deck. Mostly, it's not the main meta decks. It's the little stuff. It's like Sylvans and that Weevil deck and the mirror match. A lot of mirror match going on. So he has Mythic Depths. Not exactly mirror match. This isn't exactly mirror match. And we have good draws. So we get our Fish Depth Charge and our Oystermeister. We're gonna Fish Depth Charge. Oh, and this is like a relatively new thing. This is just a mini monster beatdown deck. So you have Atlantean Attack Squad and Hammer Shark and Spined Gillmen, and then just like normal back row with your walls and your windstorms and your curse, and then you just beat down the opponent because all of those small monsters power each other up. And then so we destroy the Atlantean squad, and then he destroys my Oyster token, but we drew our Beautiful Princess, so it's all good. We play our second Oystermeister and play a mirror wall, and I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe I could get some psychological warfare, like maybe he doesn't know there's only one Fish Depth Charge. Anyway, that's silly. He attacks into it and gets mirror walled. I'm using his own back row tactics against him. We do not pay for the wall. We get our Golden Flying Fish, tribute to Oystermeister, get our Oyster token. He has his powerful rebirth. So, because it's so, I mean, it doesn't even use Golden Flying Fish, so it's not a mirror match. But every other card is so similar that I regard it as such. And then he gets out his Spine Gillman, and so that card powers up the Hammer Shark. And then if he had the Atlantean Attack Squad, Atlantean Attack Squad would have like over 3,000 attack, I think. Yeah, because this powers up your Sea Serpent monsters, and then Atlantean Attack Squad powers up when there are other Sea Serpents. And then Hammer Shark special summons the 2 cards. Destroys my fish, and he's about to see a Wall of Disruption. See, this is why the Golden Flying Fish is superior, because we don't worry about Wall of Disruption, we just destroy it. Forces another Super Rush, and so he destroys my monster, but all of his monsters are good and weakened. Now here, okay, so we have our token in attack position, just in case he wanted to continue the attack and get destroyed. And I'm actually glad he didn't, because I know, I mean, just looking at this deck, he doesn't have any tributes. Like this is his lineup, like minus Atlantean attack squad. This is not a growing the monster deck. And we Beautiful for our golden flying fish, and we tribute that token to get rid of the forbidden chalice. I was thinking it was a wall of disruption. And I do not attack because I don't want to clear a space. Because again, golden flying fish, you're very worried about who has 100 more attack points than you do. So that lets him put all of his monsters into defense position. And so he plays the enemy controller, tributes, and destroys my fish. So I was thinking that I could draw my enemy controller before he did, and he draws his enemy controller, so that didn't work out. So he destroys my golden flying fish. So then I'm gonna go ahead and destroy my Umi with Parallel Twister, because it doesn't matter, we get the wall of D that time, and now we'll just start clearing his board, because we have this strong Swamp Mirror, and we're not worried about Atlantean attack squad because we have enemy controller. And with our enemy controller, because again, I don't see any room in this deck for Karibo, we change him to attack position so that we can attack for lethal. So this is my update on the Golden Flying Fish deck. Consider using it on the ladder against Sylvans. Thank you for watching.